Yes, it's a live fixed or fuxed. Well, it's hopefully more of a how-to than a fixed or fuxed, because, spoilers, I've sort of done this already. Except I haven't. I'm doing a battery. This is a battery. This is a phone. I'm doing a battery replacement on this phone. And I tried to do this before. And I bought a battery, and I started recording, and I bought a "this isn't an original battery, but it fits perfectly" battery. It wasn't an original battery, and it did not fit perfectly. And it also didn't act as a battery. When I did manage to sort of cram it into the phone, it decided that it was not only not going to have any charge, it wasn't going to take any charge, it was not going to be a battery. So, to get into one of these, the bag, if you have one of these you already know, comes off, and you already know that because that's how you put the cardy things in. Following on from that, because they want to make it super inconvenient, yes, and incredibly tricky, to following on, you have to unscrew lots of little screws, some of which are probably different lengths to others. And it's probably quite important that you put the right ones back in the right places. Having said, oh, I've been here before, spoilers, I actually can't remember exactly how I did this. I know this metal bit comes off, and while I'm removing the screws, because I'm live, I've never done live before, a little bit nervous about it. Performance anxiety may lead to problems. Yeah, while I take the screws out, I just want to have my little rant. How many people want to go and buy the special fiddly little pain-in-the-arse screwdrivers to get these screws out? How many people then feel brave enough to take all of these screws out? How many people are just going to go, oh, my battery doesn't hold much of a charge anymore. You know what? This thing's 4 years old anyway. Fuck it. I'm going to throw it in the bin and buy a shiny new one. Which is, of course, why the manufacturers make it this bit more difficult, but does mean that in these days of the world being on fire in so many ways, we have a fuck ton of waste, electronic being a major, major problem already, and it's only going to get worse. For the sake of, just let me be able to take the back off and put it back. In fact, an older phone, just to point out what I'm getting at here. Oh look, I peel the back off, there's a battery. Look at that. This one's a bit difficult to take out because it's an aftermarket battery that doesn't fit particularly well. But it does, I could replace it without having to unscrew a bajillion things and risking electrocution death. Which is why I now rant. Instead of undoing the screws, when I was supposed to be doing it at the same time as undoing the screws. It just really annoys me. I know, obviously, companies want you to go out and buy yet another one. And battery technology does mean that batteries are only good for probably 2 or 3 years before they start failing. But it just pisses me off. Ah, that red one. That isn't a red one. I think this is a tamper-proof screw. So warning, doing this will invalidate your warranty. And something you've had for 5 years that already has no warranty. That comes out. And from memory, I didn't have to take everything else off, or did I? Well, there's another screw here. You see, thousands of screws. Thousands of screws to get to something that could just be behind a clippy back. It's already got a clippy back. It's not like one of these clippy backless phones where you at least have the argument, well, this phone doesn't have a clippy back. How are we supposed to be able to give people easy access to the battery? No, you have a clippy back. What you lack is the desire to let people get in to the phone. Can I get... Have I missed a screw? I may have missed a screw. I remember this being a tight pain in the before. Let's take some more screws out then. That is not a screw. And yet I tried to put the screwdriver in it. Well, some of these seem to be longer than others. Some of these seem to have red thread lock. Some of them seem to have blue. That might be important to somebody, somewhere. To me, this is my old phone that I replaced with a phone that I actually really hate. I quite like this phone. The camera's not brilliant. Obviously, it's not a high-performing phone. ZTE Max 7 Nubia J, whatever the fuck. But it worked quite well, apart from the battery just being... It would take a charge. I've forgotten how this happens. It would take a charge, and then it would just complain massively, as in, it would get to 30% and go, actually, you know, I said 30? I meant none, and die. Which made it kind of useless. I don't really use phones as phones. Nah, just popped it there. It was just being awkward, so I didn't have to unscrew that bit. But I don't really use phones as phones. It's more a sort of YouTube, sat-nav. It does things, but it's still quite convenient if it does those things whilst being honest about its battery life and time left of thing doing before needing a charge. The battery is glued in. Again, this is not an exploratory video. This is more of a how-to because I've already been here before. The battery is glued in and you have to very gently... Last time I got a far more flexible thing and slid it under there. This time, of course, because it's already been out once, it comes out quite easily. Very gently work it off the glue because you do not want to puncture one of these batteries. Ask me how I know that. Yeah, you don't want to puncture one of these batteries, and you probably, because that's the back of the screen and stuff, you probably also don't really want to put any flex in there and smash things. And it's clipped there, which I popped with this. I didn't really need to. Could have popped it with a fingernail. Could have probably just levered the thing off. I thought I'd do it in the way that makes it look like I'm doing things properly. And I have an allegedly genuine replacement battery. Oh, I am such a fucking idiot. I hadn't noticed they hadn't folded the cable over. I'm recording this to put it up as a proper video later. Guess what I'm going to be editing out? Okay, maybe it is a genuine battery. Okay, so if you get one of these and it's sat like that and you're going, but that's the wrong way up, that's never going to work, do that. So back to my rant about people aren't going to do this. You see, on the ones where you can just pop the back off and pop the battery out, there are little pronky contacts. It's delightful, delightful little pronkies that mean you not only aren't dealing with a million screws and a load of glue, you're also not dealing with something that's not particularly aftermarketishly well made and folded over. Yeah, that's not wanting to sit quite how I'd like it. The back will crimp it all into place, I'm sure. By crimp, I mean crush. Clip this back on. This probably didn't need to come off, but it did make my life a little bit easier. Oh God, that is too long. If this is genuine aftermarket, it's not well done. So yeah, how many people are really going to do this on something? What did I pay for this phone? I paid 100 currency, I think, for this phone as clearance surplus ex-China Mobile stock. It's sort of one of those weird grey imports. So I didn't pay a lot of currency for what was, in its time, quite a good phone. It was a very good buy. I was very pleased with the price. But yeah, it didn't cost a hell of a lot. By the way, some screws are longer, some are shorter. I'm putting the longer ones in the spots that look like they definitely take longer screws. If you were doing this, I would recommend you actually take some note, pay some attention as to what's come out of where. I didn't. But yeah, are you really going to do this? Well, if you're watching this video, maybe you are. Maybe that is the point of your viewing here. Sorry, I'm struggling for words because I'm trying to check the length of my screw. Sometimes you don't want it too short, and you certainly, at times, really don't want it too long. It can cause damage. So, yeah, are you... Oh, you might, but is the average doesn't go to YouTube to look how to fix things typed person, are they really going to go to these measures and then get a battery and go, oh shit, I think I bought the wrong battery. No, hold on, this just needs to fold over. But even then, it's still a really crap fit. Are you going to do that? No. Not when you can go to some high street rip-off phone chain and go, oh yes, no, I want the unlimited text per month for the and I just have to pay you £50 for a new handset. That's what you're going to do. And you don't have to do that if manufacturers put a little more thought or a little less bastardry into the user. Is replacing a battery even serviceability? I'm going to say no. I don't want to say the user serviceability of products because this shouldn't be a user serviceable issue. I have noticed I put all of these screws in without putting the rubber thing on. I don't think I need it. I hope. If it falls off, I can just open this up and redo this. I think the amount of crunch on that cable is probably going to hold it all in place for me. Yeah, I know I keep ranting about this. It just annoys me so much. Every time you buy a new iPhone, a dolphin eats a polar bear. We should really be able to use and service our own items. At least when the service comes to putting a battery in. Have I nearly done? Because if I have, it means I can stop talking bollocks. Yeah, let's pull that down into place. Am I going to be tempting fate by putting the back on? The clippy, easily removable back? And hitting the power button? Okay. Well, like I said at the beginning, it's not really a fixed or fuxed, because it's more of a hopeful how-to. Only because I've been here before. The first time round would have been totally a fixed or fuxed. But this is booting. It has power. That is definitely the old battery, which holds a minimal charge. I'll keep that because I might be able to use it for LEDs or something. But there you go. That, I don't know if anything incriminating is going to pop up on the screen. That is how you replace the battery on a ZTE Nubia West 1 Pi China Mobile 4G. That's how you replace the battery on one of these.